Welcome to Personal Pension Radio Podcast, where you get unconventional insights into retirement and lifestyle design that actually work. You don't have to settle for the same tired Wall Street advice. Break away from the herd and learn how to achieve the retirement lifestyle of your dreams. And now, here's your host, the income engineer, Kraig Strom.
All right, back on Personal Pension Radio. I'm excited to get started today. Episode number 115. Thank you so much for being here. You heard it. I am the income engineer, broadcasting from the Personal Pension Radio Workshop here in Southern California. That is right. It is a workshop. I've had a number of questions about that. It's my wood shop. I actually have a full-blown studio workshop, if you will. My little podcast setup is here in a corner of my larger workshop where I do woodworking stuff. That's my primary passion, if you will, my therapy. Brought to you by personalpensionradio.com. If you haven't been to the website, it's a very simple site. It's a place where I keep all of the back episodes of the show. I try to get show notes up there and transcripts and so forth. But if you don't find anything, find something you're looking for there, please, by all means, contact me through the website. You can also get me at LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all the various places that I am. Kraig with a K, K-R-A-I-G, Strom, and you'll have no trouble whatsoever finding me. Now, I want to touch on something that I bring this up now and then. For those of you who've listened to the show, you've heard this before. I want to make sure that you know where this passion for this podcast and this topic comes from. That I was educated by the Wall Street financial advisory machine. And I want to make that clear. I do look at it. It's this huge, gigantic behemoth of a machine. When you look at Wall Street and the financial industry in general, I was never taught to pay attention to what was behind the curtain. The Wall Street machine that educated me and my contemporaries out there in the world, they don't spend a lot of time teaching financial advisors to ask questions about, hey, what's behind the curtain, right? Most advisors today have been educated by that same machine that taught me the messaging that works best for banks and Wall Street, for example. And therefore, CPAs, attorneys, bankers, insurance professionals, the list just goes on and on and on. The advice is always the same. It's incomplete because the machine that taught me and the fleet of financial advisors out there to then teach you, the general public, and to teach your CPAs and attorneys and bankers, it's all the same message. And they spend very little time talking about, for example, controlling fees. Almost no time whatsoever speaking about retirement income and the economics of retirement income. That is just not in the education in any significant way. So for me, the big shift was, I forget how many years ago, was just asking this question about, hey, if I save this much money and my client saves this much money, how much income can my client have? Well, I would learn about a product and they would say, oh, you need to go and get this diversified investment portfolio for income, or you got to get this annuity, or, oh, this life insurance is the answer to retirement. And thankfully for myself personally, and I hope you as the audience, the listeners to the show, have benefited from this, I did not accept that industry suggested answer. I went out and said, well, wait a minute. There's got to be more to this. So I really focused my attention on this idea of optimizing retirement income. And I'm here to tell you, after all these years, optimizing retirement income does not happen with a product. It doesn't happen with one set thing like accumulation. Remember I've joked about it in the past. I joked about it with somebody, a lawyer I was having breakfast with last week, that the answer to everything from Wall Street and Wall Street trained advisors is save more money. You want to retire someday, you better save more money. If you want to send your kid to college, you better save more money. If you lose your dog, it's because you did not save enough money. If you get a flat tire, clearly, you did not save enough money. Hopefully you get my point. The answer is always save more money, which is, pay attention to this term, accumulation economics. Accumulation economics refers to saving money, let's say, for retirement. Distribution economics is the income in retirement. Income in retirement and accumulation have completely different economics. And unfortunately, the economics of retirement income have very, very little information out there in the Wall Street advisory machine. It's just not out there. So this show is all about the conversation about optimizing that and maximizing that retirement income. But it does not happen with a product. Investments, life insurance, annuities, real estate, 401ks, Roth IRAs, none of these things by themselves will actually help you optimize retirement income. You've got to have an integrated approach that takes the best of any one of these things together with the others. That's where maximum retirement income comes from. Now, quick disclosure before I forget, I am not an attorney. I'm not a CPA, a certified public accountant. I am a certified financial planner professional. But even though I believe I'm extremely well qualified to discuss this topic and any number of other financial topics, that doesn't mean that you should act on things that you hear on this show as if it was advice for you. And especially, please, dear goodness me, do not act on things that you hear from financial entertainers or those that are on other podcasts and radio shows. Meet with a qualified financial advisor to go over your specific situation. And selfishly, I would love that advisor to be me. I've had a number of people who listen to this show who've called and now are becoming clients. That's a great feeling for me to be able to help. And I would encourage you, before you make financial decisions, please meet with a qualified financial advisor first. Now, let's jump in. The first segment, watch your step out there. Watch your step out there. Remember, Wall Street controls the marketing dollars and spends about $54 per person in the United States, some $17 billion on advertising. So watch your step. Last week I talked about retirement and, just watching out for, your comfort level in retirement. I had an article I discussed about people thinking that they are set for retirement, right? And the encouragement not to get too comfortable, right? Now, here's the thing. I was listening to this, this financial advisor in a meeting last week. He's a financial advisor from a big investment house that we all know about. And he made a reference to smart money versus dumb money. Smart money versus dumb money. And it had been a while since I'd actually heard those terms. Notice that I said I didn't just say that I've never heard that before. I'm in the investment and financial world, so I have heard smart money versus dumb money before. But I'm thinking back, right? I'm thinking back to last week as I hear this, that we talked about this economic effect of the new president that came in at the beginning of now 2017, and the economic optimism and the optimism that things are good. And I suggested that it is irrational exuberance and it could be a killer of wealth. That was what I was suggesting is, wait a second, that ties into what I heard last week as well, this investment guy referencing smart money versus dumb money. Let me explain, okay? Smart money refers to large institutional investors or fund companies like mutual fund companies, okay, who have teams of analysts They can stay abreast of what's happening in the market, and generally, they're more informed. They also have the ability to act quickly on new information. That's why one investment approach is to follow what the smart money is doing. My fingers are doing the air quotes. Now, dumb money, on the other hand, refers to the average investor. Most individual investors cannot spend all day analyzing, researching, following reports, checking on the global economy. Dumb money has no relation to intelligence. That's the point here. It's just dumb being unaware. Even the smart money makes dumb decisions for sure, but it's more about access to information and the ability to then act on it. Okay? And I had referenced the Trump effect as far as the economic exuberance and optimism that happened after the election, but I want to also reference what happened with the smart money versus dumb money after the election. That you can go and look at this any number of places, but I'm just going to give you a general idea. Smart money, remember the big institutional investors, sold enormous amounts of their investment portfolios. Billions and billions of dollars sold, right? They sold. What did the dumb money do? This is, again, dumb not being an insult to intelligence, just unaware. They don't have the same information access. Dumb money bought massive amounts of the market. Smart money sold, dumb money bought. At a very high point in the market already, dumb money jumping on board and buy. So please keep that in mind. I want you to watch your step. It's always been, I've heard this advice before, follow the smart money. What's the big institutional firms doing? What are they doing? How do they really feel about the economy? And ask those questions before you just dive in with that irrational exuberance and buy, right? So smart money versus dumb money. Not an insult to intelligence, just access to information. Smart money has virtually unlimited resources and access to information that most of the general public just doesn't have. Now, let's get into last week's client question. It was a story that I shared last week about, this is in the 4% rule, where I was explaining a very successful car dealership CEO, husband and wife. They're doing great, and they make really good money. I mean, they're doing really well. The trouble was, when they went to talk to, when they were going to go through and talk to their financial advisor about retirement income, right? I ran the numbers through their own industry-provided investment company retirement calculator and came up with a retirement income projection that was dramatically lower than what they had expected. They were hoping to at least be able to retire on the income they have today. Now, if you remember from last week, they weren't trying to retire on some elevated increased number. So they were making a very healthy income today, but they were hoping to at least be able to retire on the current income they have today. Some 15, 20 years later, they would be satisfied if they could at least have what the income they had today. And yet it was going to be dramatically lower, right? Dramatically lower. And the solution to the shortfall, right? The solution to the shortfall was to reduce their retirement income goal by nearly 40%, or delay retiring until age 71, almost 10 years longer, and the big one, save more money. Now, remember what I said earlier in the podcast, right? The answer from Wall Street to everything is save more money. Save. Well, here for this couple, the retirement calculator provided by their industry chosen investment firm said they could retire at age whatever, 46 or 62 it was. They're 46 today. They're going to go to age 62. But that they should plan on living until age 85, right? And they could take out 4.65%. Remember, there's that 4% rule. But why did we have 4.65 and not 4%? Because the software used age 85. So what if one of them lives to be 97? That could cause a significant problem. But my thing, the part that makes me laugh, it makes me bang my head on the table, is that sure enough, once again, here's yet another retirement income calculator. And by the way, I had never seen this particular retirement income calculator until I was speaking with and talking to car dealerships. So I look at the retirement income calculator provided through their association. And sure enough, there it is, 4.65. Live until age 85. Oh, you don't like that retirement income projection? No problem. Just cut the projection by 40%, delay your retirement until age 71, or just save a massive amount of additional money. And if you'll remember, the calculator said that they would have to save almost $10,000 more per month to meet their retirement income goal. Okay, massive difference, right? Now, I promised to go through some of my numbers. What I want to do is I want to stress here, this is but just one little piece of how I look at it. How you put this together in your specific situation or in their situation, it is completely up in the air because this is just one piece of the puzzle. Okay, one piece of the puzzle. So let me take you through this. I'm going to use a number that's $3 million. I'm going to try and keep this simple because they say one of the worst things you can do is share too many numbers on a podcast or, on a video. So $3 million number, and remember that 4.65%, right? 4.65%. Well, that would give you $140,000 or $139,000 a year. Let's just say even, okay? Well, these folks were hoping, again, they're hoping for just a better number. Well, let's just throw a better number at it and see what happens. So remember, $3 million at 4.65%, it's $139,500. $3 million at 7% is $210,000. So $210,000 at 7%. But whoa, Kraig, where are you going to get 7%? You're telling us that 4.65 is too high and it's not certain and it's not guaranteed. Where are you going to get 7%? Well, just stay with me. Hold on just a second. $210,000, that's, just so you get the idea, a $70,000 increase, which is basically a 50% increase in the income target. So as long as you're not riding a bike or driving a car, well, you could raise up one hand. Who wants the higher number? Who wants to shoot for $70,000 a year more income? Well, me, I'm raising my hand. I want more income. More is better, right? So my numbers right out the gate, if I'm using 7%, obviously my numbers are going to be better. But how do you accomplish that? How do you actually accomplish that without risk of running out of money? Well, I'm going to pull out one thing to give you as a reference, okay? I'm going to pull out out of all of the various things that these folks have to deal with, business value, 401ks, Roth IRAs, cash value life insurance, Social Security, reverse mortgages, immediate income annuities. Let me stop right there. What is an immediate income annuity? An immediate income annuity is essentially a way to get a personal pension that you can give a certain amount of money to an insurance company, and the insurance company will give you a guaranteed paycheck based on the guaranteed abilities of that insurance company, and the paycheck never stops. So you can actually have a payout that just gives you a paycheck every month forever. As long as husband and wife live, the paycheck will continue. Now, I'm not here today to go into a bunch of information on income annuities and deferred annuities and various things. That's not the point. But what I want you to know is that the conversation about the immediate income annuity is generally not going to happen with a classically trained Wall Street financial advisor. It just generally doesn't come up, because if you take money from an investment account and put it into an insurance company annuity, how much money does Wall Street still have to charge fees on? None. They don't have the money anymore, and therefore no fees to charge on that investment income. That investment account is now in the insurance world, and Wall Street's not able to charge fees on it. So you generally don't hear about strategies that might use a income annuity to guarantee someone's income in retirement, because it takes money out of the Wall Street advisory machine. Okay? So an income annuity, though, pays income based on your age. So based on your age. So I used a simple number, 7% income rate. Is it possible that it could be lower? Could it be higher? I don't know. Could be. I'm just using ballpark numbers. So let's say that a husband and wife get there to their retirement age, and they're looking at how are they going to invest their money. Well, they go to their investment firm, and their investment firm says, you probably shouldn't plan on taking more than maybe 4.6%, maybe 4.7%. Or they go to the insurance company advisor who says, yeah, we could get you a 7. We could get you 7, and there's zero risk of that paycheck ever stopping. Now, the compliance folks would say, whoa, zero risk. You can't say that. Well, insurance companies that you use for these definitely have to guarantee based on their reserves and so forth. And I've talked to industry insiders in the insurance world, and I cannot find any record anywhere of a guaranteed income annuity missing a payment. That I can't find any record of anyone ever missing their guaranteed annuity income payment. If anybody out there can find any record of anyone ever missing a paycheck from their insurance company guaranteed annuity, please let me know. But I have not found anything that says that. Okay? So let's just say they are guaranteed by the claims paying abilities of the companies, and let's just use this as a hypothetical example. So what are we talking about? A big amount of money, $3 million at 4.65. That's $139,000. $3 million at 7% is $210,000. That's a 50% increase. That's huge, right? What if you don't have $3 million in your investment account? Do your own math. On $1 million versus on $1 million at 7%, right? You're looking at $46,000 versus $70,000. Which would you rather have? I'm raising my hand for the higher number. I want the higher number, right? So, please, this is just one basic example of how income can be planned for differently. That without following the typical Wall Street model, you step outside of that Wall Street model and you go to an immediate income annuity, and your income bumps 50%. And how much risk do you have that you'll ever run out of that income? Zero risk based on the claims paying abilities of that company, yada, yada, yada. But the point is, higher income doesn't require more risk. Okay, let me give you another example of this. I actually had a conversation with a realtor recently. This realtor actually sells very high-end, very expensive houses here in Southern California. So about 40 minutes to the west of me. To the west of me is some of the most expensive real estate in the world, and this realtor sells real estate in those kind of markets. Now, my suggestion, my conversation was around real estate as a retirement income asset, and I suggested very boldly to this realtor, I suggested that real estate as a retirement income asset is not terribly that great. It's just not that great. And the realtor's initial reaction was, wait a minute, hold on a second, right? Because I had kind of, just disrupted his world. Well, let me explain is what I said. So let me go through this. Real estate is a great accumulation asset, but is it a really good income asset in retirement? Because what do we want in retirement? We want maximum income. How long do we want it for? As long as possible. Guaranteed for life would be nice, right? That's what we truly want. So we have to switch gears. When we're not retired, real estate, what do we want from real estate? We want to grow the value, right? Grow, grow, grow. But when we get to retirement, what do we want from our real estate or investment assets? We want income, right? So let's go through this. Think about this. A $500,000 home in Southern California. Now, this is not one of the homes in the Newport coast here in Southern California. I'm not sure if you could get a $500,000 home anywhere near the water in Southern California. I don't believe you can, but I'm just using $500,000 as an example. So a $500,000 home in Southern California with no mortgage, because isn't that kind of the mantra, right? You want to get to retirement with your real estate rental properties and they're paid off so that it's all cash flow, right? Okay, so here we go. $500,000 home with no mortgage. $2,500 in rent every month. That's $30,000 a year in gross income. Notice the gross income. That's not what you get to keep, okay? So $30,000 a year in income, that's a 6% gross return on a $500,000 house. 6%. Where am I going with 600? So $30,000 a year on a $500,000 house, 6%. Now, here's the part that most people miss. And I know that my realtor friend that I was actually speaking with, I know that he didn't miss this, but taxes, toilets, trash, and tenants, that is the change that is missed in the mindset of most people thinking about retiring with real estate, right? Because when you add up taxes, toilets, trash, and tenants, and you look at the cost of all of those things, you're lucky to take a 6% gross return and come down to a net 4%. So now we're netting out 4%, $20,000 on our $500,000 asset. Now, that's not the end of the story, though. The end of the story could be, as it just recently happened to my mother, is an air conditioning replacement. When the air conditioning needs to be replaced, who replaces that? The owner of the property, the landlord. So one major air conditioner or one major kitchen repair could cost $5,000. Real estate has major risk to retirement income. What if your tenant all of a sudden stops paying rent? Right? What if they're not paying rent anymore? What if in California, you've got to go through this crazy long process to evict someone? And then what if those tenants are jerks on the way out and steal all your faucets and rip all the copper wire out of your house? Or I actually saw someone rolling up carpet in a house, rolling up carpet as they were taking the carpet with them, right? These are renters taking the carpet with them. Okay, so real estate has major risk to retirement income security. Now, take that exact same situation, right? Take that $500,000 house, and this is where I was going with my conversation with my realtor friend, was what do we want in retirement? We want income, and we'd like that income to last forever and ever. Amen. Take that same house and sell it. Sell the house. Pay some taxes. Let's say we pay $70,000 in taxes. Maybe we pay more. Who knows? There's all kinds of ways to, pay your taxes. Okay. What if we then took that $70,000 that house, and now we went and got one of those immediate income annuities that I spoke of earlier? At 7%, guess what? That's $30,000 a year with no toilets, trash, tenants, right? taxes with no risk. The taxes on that $30,000 can be extremely favorable depending on how it's set up. My point is this. We took a house that by itself is a great accumulation asset because you can have tenants basically pay for the asset, right, while you're getting ready to retire. But after you retire, it could be a significant amount of risk, right? A huge amount of risk to your income security. You could take that property, put it into an immediate income annuity at a 7% number now, income rate, and have a guaranteed paycheck equal to what you would have gotten as a gross paycheck with risk. So $30,000 a year with no risk of taxes, toilets, trash, repairs, tenants, etc. Okay? Now, for the realtor, this was the aha moment. This is what I suggested to this realtor I was having lunch with. I was at lunch or breakfast? I can't remember. Anyway, the suggestion that I made was, well, wait a minute. If this person goes into retirement holding their real estate, there's no real estate for you to sell, right? But if they go into retirement wanting the maximum retirement income they can get with the most amount of security they can get, won't they need to sell their house? Wouldn't it be great if you as a realtor could be there to assist them to get maximum value for the sale of their house? And now you have a home to sell instead of someone now staying in ownership position of that rental property for the next 20 years. That's not a property you get to sell, right? Oh my gosh, the light just went on for this realtor. The light went on in a big way that they understood they have an opportunity to help their client sell the house, and of course, they have the opportunity to put someone else back in a position of accumulation, for example, building an asset for their own accumulation, and that realtor had this major aha moment that real estate is great as an accumulation asset, but they saw this income conversation totally different, and it opened their eyes to an opportunity for them to help people who are going into retirement transition their real estate into more secure income producing assets so that someone else can have a ride on the accumulation train, if you will. So that's going to wrap it up today. Please don't forget, we're finishing up with the tripod movement this month, the month of March. This is the podcast movement. So please share this podcast. Make sure you use the hashtag tripod, hashtag TRYPOD, where it's a word of mouth campaign to raise awareness of the podcast market out there. Some of my favorite podcasts, How I Built This. Great stories about some of the biggest brands that you know of and how they were built. It's at How I Built This. I also love 99% Invisible, one of my first regular podcasts that I listen to, and that is at 99PI. Really cool podcast. Please share this podcast, and if you've got another podcast you love, please share it out there with me. I'd love to hear about it, but use the hashtag hashtag tripod, TRYPOD. And now, please, take action. The future belongs to those who take action. Get out there, do something about this today. I'm telling you, there can be light at the end of the retirement tunnel, but you've got to get off the log and actually take action. Go to Personal Pension Radio or get with me on LinkedIn. I would love to give you a free retirement income analysis so that you can see where you're headed today and you can see what it could look like with some changes in that direction. Great to be with you. I'll talk to you again soon on the next episode of Personal Pension Radio.
Thank you for listening to the Personal Pension Radio podcast. We took notes for you, so if you missed any part of the show, you can find a full transcript of each episode at personalpensionradio.com. Be sure to download your free retirement income crisis report at personalpensionradio.com. While you're at it, we would appreciate some iTunes love. Please leave us a fantastic rating on iTunes by going to personalpensionradio.com/iTunes. Thanks again for listening. Now for the disclosure. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not intended for solicitation, sale or purchase of any security or financial product. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and your tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed here. The term personal pension refers to a marketing name designed to educate future retirees and retirees about the economic principles behind creating their own pension-like income. The term personal pension is not intended to be confused with a defined benefit pension plan offered by an employer or by a government entity.